3 tribes out of the 12 would camp to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, 3 to the west. And there was, in one of the directions, they were all pretty equal, but 3 of the biggest tribes were all located in one direction. And the temple, which was a tabernacle of God, which is not a temple, it was a tent, that was at the heart, the intersection of these. So here's the tent, and 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the... Literally, every time they would camp in the shape of a cross in the desert. And this is Moses' time. And now, the Levite tribe was different. The Levite tribe did not camp to the north, south, east, or west. The Levite tribe actually camped around the temple of God, the tabernacle of God. They were the closest ones. And the Levites, this is written specifically to leaders and this one group, because their one job was to know God. And not just know God and worship him, but help others to access God and know him so that they can continue to live for him. That was their job. Christians, that is our job today, just so you know. Peter says that God has made Christians a kingdom of priests, a holy priesthood. And so we are to encamp around close to God because we're supposed to continue to know him and then help others to know him as well. And the whole book of Leviticus is actually about one thing. So if you want to read it, let me give you this thing. It's all about worship. That's crazy. The Levitical book is a weird one. But do you know that the number one thing about this is worship? God is telling the people of Leviticus how to do 2 things. How do you access me? And you access me through sacrifice and, talk about that. And then how do you have constant fellowship with me? That's what Leviticus is all about. How do you access me? How do you have fellowship with me? And how do you have access through a sacrifice? And what did that point to, guys? That was pointing to ultimately in the future where Jesus would be the ultimate sacrifice so that we could have access to God permanently. That's what it was. And that's a beautiful thing that we have access to. This is why in the tabernacle, just like later in the temple, the curtain was ripped from 2, separating a holy from the holy of holies, which was God. And so why was that separation made? Because it was able to show that, hey, access to God is made available through Jesus Christ. And so that's access. This, what we just read, is part of the other part. How do we have ongoing fellowship with God? It's one thing to have access and another thing to have fellowship. For example, you can have on your phone access to Netflix, right? You may be logged in right now. But if you don't have internet, you've lost fellowship. Does that make sense? You have access, but then there's fellowship. How do we do that? And so Leviticus is all about that.